to be patient with us tonight as we go over our meeting. We're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. I'll read the invocation and we will have the Pledge of Allegiance to follow. Amen. Invocation. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we call on thy precious holy name at this hour, Lord Jesus, and say thank you for such a beautiful day. Thank you, Father, for those who have gathered with us tonight to discuss the business of our city. We ask that you will be with each and every one as they leave this place later tonight. Be with them, watch over them as they return home. Be with this council, the mayor and his administration, and the people that's in this building, that we do what is right for the city of Bogalusa. We ask for your presence, your leadership, and your guidance, and we ask for your forgiveness of our failures and the things that we do not do for you, Father. We praise you. We thank you for being with us. Thank you for the opportunity to say thank you, Father. For it's in your holy name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, God. Roll call, please.
Vice President Urban.
Aye. I'm here.
Councilwoman Douglas.
Here.
Councilwoman Smith.
Here.
Councilwoman Case.
Here.
Councilwoman Temple.
Here.
President Kelly.
Here. I'd like to now have a motion that we accept the minutes from the March the 19th council meeting, please. We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anyone in the public like to speak on the March the 19th meeting? There being none, is there any council discussion on the March 19th meeting?
Is it not the budget?
No, sir. There being no discussion from the council, I'll call for a vote by roll call, please.
Vice President Urban.
Aye.
Councilwoman Douglas. Councilwoman Smith.
Aye.
Councilwoman Case.
Aye.
Councilwoman Temple.
Aye.
President Kelly.
Aye. We do have two meetings on here, the April the 2nd meeting and the April 9th meeting. Both of those meetings have been canceled and there was no meeting held, so there were no minutes for those two meetings. Next we have recognitions of awards. We have none, but we do have a guest speaker tonight. Our guest speaker will be Mr. David Wolf. He will be speaking on the village of the ballot. Lauren Cat.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council, mayor, and administration. I'm David Wolf from the Adams and Reese firm, city's common counsel, special counsel for tax-related matters and so forth. And this year, as I've done for you all for close to the last 30 or 35 years, we have the ordinance levying the property taxes for 2024. After my remarks, Council President is going to ask for a motion to amend the agenda so that the ordinance can be introduced. It'll just be an introduction tonight and it'll lay over until the May meeting when it'll come up for final adoption. This year is a reappraisal year, and so it's not quite as routine as it normally is, and so I hope you'll indulge me since it only happens once every 4 years, and it's to explain to you all and for the members of the public who are here today why this is a little bit different than the normal procedure for your taxes. You do know that you have a number of property taxes that were voted at different elections over the years. They are used for different purposes. They run for overlapping 10-year terms, and every now and then we have to have an election to renew one of these taxes to keep it going. I furnished to you all an update a couple of weeks ago to the chart that I keep up to date year after year after year, showing each of the villages. There's a total of 9 separate villages right now, and the current rates and the purposes as they were voted. The millage rate that the city levied last year was 42.28 mills. That was the total. And that consists of 9 different villages that are levied at anywhere from 2.75 up to 10.9 mills, all for different purposes. All but one of those villages was voted at an election and runs for 10 years. One village, which is called the general alimony tax, is given to every municipality, parish, and school board in the state, and you're allowed to levy that tax in perpetuity without having to get voter permission. That tax is 10.9 mils, and that can be used for any general municipal purposes. There's no dedications to that whatsoever. The other taxes were all voted for specific purposes: fire department, water and sewer, general maintenance and operation of city facilities. There's a couple of villages that are used for the pension system, one for the recreation program, and one for garbage collection. And the administration, when it's formulating its budget each year, has to be careful to utilize each village for those specific purposes. So, for example, the 5 mil tax for garbage collection, which generates about $522,000 a year, goes into the fund to help pay for the expenses of the waste disposal system, the garbage system. May not cover all of the expenses, but that particular village is dedicated for that. Every 4 years, by Constitution, by the Louisiana Constitution, every assessor in the state does a parish-wide reassessment of all the property in the parish. So every 4 years, you typically see a change in the assessed values as the assessor reevaluates each and every piece of property. And the Constitution and the statutes provide a procedure for every 4 years for how to handle that. 2 things can happen in these reappraisal years. One thing that can happen is that the assessed values as a result of reappraisal go up. The other thing, of course, is that they go down. And there are 2 different paths you take depending on whether the assessments went up or went down. If the assessments go up, that sounds like a great thing because it means the assessed value of the parish has gone up, the assessed value of the city, so that each one of your villages should generate more income because the assessed value on which its levy is increased. But the way that the law is written, you have to first reduce, if the assessed value goes up, which is what happened this year, you have to reduce the millage rates from the previous year so that the income is the same as in the previous year. So for example, a 10 mil tax last year generated $1 million. But a 10 mil tax with the new assessments would generate $1.1 million. Then you're obliged to reduce that 10 mil tax to something like 9 mils, which would generate the same $1 million. So that's the first step. You have an optional second step, which is to do what's called rollback or roll forward or millage readjustment, depending on who you talk to, it's all the same thing, that allows you to reset the rate back up to the original 10 mil rates. That would get you the increased revenues that would result because of the reappraisal. But to do that, you have to adopt a second ordinance. You have to go through a very detailed notice process. You've got to publish things in the paper. This law tells you exactly how many inches wide the column's got to be and how big the typeface has to be. And you've got to publish information at the budget. And it's a very, very complicated procedure with a lot of opportunities for a footfall where you might make a mistake and the whole thing is invalid. And the legislative auditor looks over our shoulder on how we do those every year very carefully and bring to your attention anything that you might have done wrong. The other alternative is that the assessed values could go down as a result of the reappraisal. That would result from property being closed up or torn down. It could be a recession or property values in general sagging. And that actually did happen here in Bogalusa 8 years ago, a very slight decrease. When the assessed values go down, then the process is that the assessor will adjust the millage rates up so that you don't lose any money as a result of the reappraisal. So if the 10 mil tax in the example that I just gave that was generating $1 million last year would only generate $900,000 at the lower assessments if the assessments dropped, you would be authorized to levy 11 mills if that's what it takes to get you back to $1 million, to get you back to the same level that you were before. In practice, if that happens, it's usually not a very big drop. And when it dropped before here, the adjustments were in the hundreds of mills, so it didn't really make that much difference. What happened this year, in 2024, is that the assessed value from 2023, which was $104,518,000, went up to $104,632,000. So it increased by about $114,000. But that's $114,000 against over $100 million. So it's a very tiny increase. And the way the math worked, it was such a small increase that it would only have impacted 3 of your 9 mills in the sense of requiring that you would have to reduce those millage rates in order not to get any more income than last year. So 3 mills were reduced initially by 1/100th of a mill, 0.01 mills. And on the chart that you all have here, those 3 mills are kind of highlighted in the third column as orange. They're the 3 largest mills, as you would expect. The general aluminum tax went from 10.9 to 10.89 mills. The general pension system tax went from 7.84 to 7.83 mills. And the garbage collection went from 5 to 4.99. So you have you have one thing this year that you have to do, and a second thing that's optional. The first thing that you have to do is shown in this chart under step 1, which is to levy the 2024 taxes using the adjusted rates that the assessor has figured out and sent to us a few weeks ago. And that's going to generate what you see in this orange column, $4,420,000, and it's going to be 42.25 mils in total. So that you must do, no matter what. The second step is optional, and the optional step is on the 3 millages that went down 1/100th of a mill. You could adopt the second ordinance to raise them back up 1/100th of a mill. And if you look all the way to the column on the far right, you see it makes a difference of $1,000, $1,046 for each of those villages. It's not really a material amount. And in order to do that, we would have to go through this very complicated process with a lot of opportunities to make a mistake. Now, of course, I would do my best to make sure that didn't happen, but things do happen. So well, let me go back. 4 years ago, when we had the same situation, the council decided not to do step 2, just to accept the slightly lower increase. It was a few hundredths of a mill. 4 years ago, as I said, the assessments dropped, so we didn't have to worry about this because the millage rates went up. And in 2012, I think we did roll the millages forward. I can't remember that far back, and I looked through my old papers and couldn't find what we did back then. But in this case, and again, this is up to you to decide. It's probably not worth, the extra effort of going through the second step just for $3,000 a year. So the total millage rate would decrease from 42.28 mils to 42.25 mils. And in your package, you've got the ordinance I drafted that shows the 9 mills set out individually with their reference numbers to the legislative auditor's records. And so my suggestion is just go ahead and introduce that ordinance tonight, lay it over for consideration for final adoption at the next meeting. One thing about this optional step 2, you don't have to do it tonight. You could, if you think about it, talk among yourselves and to your constituents. If you decide you don't want to lose the $3,000 a year, we can come back at the first meeting in May and introduce the second ordinance, lay it over for final adoption. The legislative auditor and the attorney general also allow you to pick up that same 300ths of a mill next year if you just change your mind and decide you want it back. So by just doing step 1 tonight and abandoning the 300ths of a mill for the time being, it's not gone forever. You can change your mind. either at the next meeting or next year or any of the next 3 years if you want to. I don't know whether it's worthwhile really to do that or not. I will say one thing in fairness to the whole process. If you adopt the adjusted millages at the lower 42.25 mils and don't ever do this optional step 2, 4 years from now, that's going to be your baseline for whatever happens 4 years from now. Whereas if you do the optional step 2, you go back up that additional 300ths of a mil, your baseline in 4 years is going to be 300ths of a mil too. It's a very small amount, really, in the scheme of things when you consider the size of your entire budget. When you consider that all of these villages combined generate over $4.4 million, the $3,000, it's $3,000, and that's a lot of money. But it's immaterial, in the big picture. So I'm happy to answer any questions, talk to you about what is really involved, what other people do. But my recommendation is to just go ahead and introduce the ordinance tonight to levy the 2024 millages at the adjusted rates calculated by the assessor. And then I'll either come back in 2 weeks, or if y'all think it's routine, I won't come back. But the ordinance will lay over and you'll adopt it at the first meeting in May. The deadline for getting the paperwork to the legislative auditor and the assessor is June 1st. So we're under a tiny bit of time crunch. And honestly, in a reappraisal year, they're usually flexible with those deadlines. So I feel like it's absolute. But I always try to follow the rules. So I like to get it in by June 1st and at least get a gold star from that and move on one thing. Anyhow. In order to do that, because it's not on the agenda tonight, actually, you all would need to have a motion to amend the agenda to add to, I think it's section 7, the introduction of ordinances, the ordinance levy villages for 2024, which you'll have in the packet. Brenda's got the millage, so she's prepared to publish the notice of introduction along with the other 2 villages. And we'll be on our way for 2024. One more thing before I see if y'all have any questions. There is one village that is coming up, or is expiring after next year. So you have this year and next year to levy the 2.75 mil tax for general pension for city employees. You don't have to do anything now. We don't have to do anything next month even, but I want to plant the idea in your mind that this village is going to come up for renewal, and maybe at the runoff election this fall, or maybe one of the elections next spring, we're going to want to look at putting that village back up on the ballot for renewal. After that, we have another couple of years, and then we've got 3 or 4 coming up at once. But for the time being, we've got no renewals on the horizon. And I'll remind you that all of the sales taxes, as we've renewed those sales taxes over the last 20, 25 years, we've made all of those sales taxes permanent, so we never have to worry about renewing sales taxes again. We just need to keep an eye on the villages and make sure that we don't let one slip through the cracks.
One particular, I would like to thank Mr. Lewis for the overview, and we will be discussing this in detail, whatever we decide to do on tonight. But if anyone if they're to review their 2023 amendment, as discussed, the legislative auditor reference numbers have changed a bit, but that does not mean the purpose has been changed.
The millages are the same. I had left them in a different order in previous years because they lined up with some other things that they were listed in that order. But now I decided that we might as well just put them in the same order that the legislative auditor lists them on their chart. And so that's why they're in a slightly different order in this ordinance than last year. But it's the same 9 villages at the same rates with the same legislative auditor reference numbers.
Thank you.
Anyone in the public have a question for Mr. Wood? Mr. McLeod, step up.
Yeah.
Mr. McLeod, step up, please. Give us your name, address, and give you the address.
Debbie McLeod, 414 Mississippi. So that village that we could bump up, do we apply that to something else like the mean, can we swap between them and is the maximum 10% total, no matter what? So we can't swap, right?
Well, you're mixing sales taxes and millages.
Okay.
10% refers to the maximum sales tax rate, which is not really 10%, it's complicated, but it's close to that. As far as the millages, no, you can't, if you were to bump those millages up, that extra $1,000 on each one would have to be used for the purpose of that.
Okay, so we can't use it to compensate for something else what we need for money. All right, thank you.
Sir? Mr. Foote?
Kerry Quinn, 220 Beale Street, Bogalusa. Mr. Wolf, I might have misunderstood you growing up on the sales tax. Did you say they cannot be changed? Where they are now, they gotta stay there?
No, the sales taxes will not need to be renewed. They don't have in other words, they were not voted with like a 10-year period like the millages. The purposes of the sales tax were approved at various elections when the sales taxes were authorized. They can always be rededicated for a different purpose, but only by an election. The council can't change the purpose by ordinance. They would have to go back to the people and change the purpose.
But the amount of the sales tax, I think it's slightly over 10% here, is that right?
Well, the amount of sales tax that the city levies is 3 1/3%.
The rest of it comes.
The rest of it is going to the state, probably the sheriff, maybe the school board, but the city collects 3 1/3%.
Okay.
And that consists of 6 different sales taxes that were voted at different times.
But can it be changed? Anyone can change it? Higher or lower?
Only with an election.
Locally or the state or the parents income?
You'd have to have a local election to raise the rate, and you probably need special legislative approval because the city's already at a cap that municipalities are allowed to have. In fact, when we did this last millage in 2000, that was the 1/3% for the city jail. I had to write a special piece of legislation for the legislature to adopt to authorize the city to even submit that 1/3% to the voters.
You said you're a smart man, Mr. Wolf. Thank you very much. One last question, or one last statement. 7% of something is more than 10% of nothing, and we get too much of that 10% of nothing here. That's a mistake.
Thank you for that, Mr. Foote. All right, council, you have any discussion on the matter? Mr. Wood, thank you. What I'd like to do now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to be able to offer an ordinance pertaining to the Valerian tax. I will make a motion now that we amend the agenda. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the amendment of the amending the agenda? Any council discussion? Vote by roll call, please.
Vice President Irving.
Aye.
Councilwoman Douglas. Councilwoman Smith.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cage. Councilwoman Temples.
Aye.
President Harris.
Aye. Thank you for that, council.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Now I'm going to read for you the ordinance pertaining to and setting the ad valorem tax for 2024. Being ordained by the Bogalusa City Council, acting as the governing authority of the city of Bogalusa, state of Louisiana, that the following ad valorem tax are hereby levied on the 2024 tax roll on all property subject to taxation by the city of Bogalusa. This particular ordinance will be discussed in detail at our next council meeting. Thank you for that. Now, next we have a resolution to be offered to you by Councilwoman Douglas.
A resolution of the municipal water pollution prevention environmental audit report 2024.
You will have a motion on the resolution if we accept it.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second on the resolution of the municipal water pollution prevention environmental report. Do we have any questions from the public? Ma'am? Address your questions on this report to Mr. Patterson, please.
Yeah, so, it's very long and hard to read through, so, I said very long and hard to read through, and I don't understand if you passed or not, that's not clear to me, you know, and just as a recommendation, it would be really nice rather than having, putting all this, I know you're trying to bring it, and I appreciate that, it would be nice if there was a summary rather than all of this documentation, and I know that they could see that someplace other than trying to read through this. That's just a recommendation. So I would like to know if we passed or not. Thank you.
All right, thank you. If there are any questions of Mr. Patterson, in reference to the environmental report, audit report 2024? Ma'am?
Charlie Gass, 602 Virginia Avenue. Like she said, I think it would be really nice if we could have this in English. I've got a question on the wastewater. Hang on, I gotta find it. The wastewater, I think, was last. I'm so sorry. Anyway, it looks like the system was last in effect 2001. Is that going to be upgraded? How was the life expectancy of that, et cetera? Hang on, let me know where it's at.
What page are you on, ma'am?
Okay, it's page 7 at the top. What year was the wastewater treatment plant construction last major expansion? It was built in 1974 with upgrades 2000, 2001. It's been, so that's 21 years. How many more years do we have than its functionality?
The treatment plant is 21 years old. It's a matter of ultimate funding and rehab.
Okay.
This audit is a yearly audit. It's automatically done. And it's not really a pass or fail. It's a parameter. It's a parameter audit that shows what needs assistance on and what we can do better.
Okay.
But
Is that
our plants, we're all in compliance with DEQ and DHA. We're just old.
okay?
And as far as the rehab, just for example, we have 2 screws that need to be rehabbed, the whole plant. The screws are $1 million. So we need grants, we need help. So we're doing pretty good for what we got.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, there was another question that I had about the junk that comes in that had something on here about some kind of. It was so bad, I thought I had it marked. Okay, it was page 6 at the top. You said it's yes marked, there's an exceeds of permit limit on pollutants such as ammonia, nitrogen, phosphorus, pH, residual chlorine, fecal, and chloroform. It's marked yes, but there's really no explanation as to what that was. I guess it was easier to say if this was in plain English, it'd be easier for the public to understand.
What's going on there is just due to the age of the plant. It's still not, it's not a DEQ or DHA problem.
Okay.
But just for example, our plant's not operating 100%. Our lift stations are draining all the public waste to the sewer treatment plant to be treated, but it's in a slow process because we have pump rentals. They're not as efficient as the pumps that we need that are $500,000 each.
Okay.
So this is just showing that
We have issues.
we have issues.
Okay. And
But
we
we're in
have,
compliance.
we're in compliance, but we have issues.
Yes.
Is there any?
But not threat to the public. It's just that, yeah, it's just,
So is there look down the road at how long this will take, or?
funding.
It's, okay.
Yes, ma'am, we're
Is
doing
it
pretty
federal,
good.
federal grants or?
Yes, we're working on that. We have some, that look good. We're fixing to prepare to get, we're working hard on that. Ms. Sanders is a great writer and we're working hard on that, so. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'm the first one that wants those funds. My son, the mayor.
Thank you for that, man. Anybody else in the audience? There being no one else from council, have any discussion? There being no council discussion, council roll call, vote by roll call, please.
Vice President Irvin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Douglas, Councilwoman Smith.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cage.
Aye.
Councilwoman Temple. Aye. President Kelly.
Aye. Thank you for that, Mr. Patterson. Next, we have introduction of other ordinances. The first ordinance to be introduced to you by Councilwoman Smith.
An ordinance for public records request as it pertains to persons with disability.
Can't hear you.
Put your microphone close.
An ordinance for public records request as it pertains to persons with disability. Tonight, I am just introducing. On the next council meeting, I will go into more details. But as you know, persons with disabilities, they are living off of set income, and we're just trying to make it fair, for those persons with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Smith. The next ordinance to be introduced to you will be introduced to you by Councilwoman Temple.
An ordinance requested by the planning and zoning for the Dollar General sign installation. This is for the store on Highway 21, and we'll discuss and vote on this at the next meeting.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman Temple. Next, we have public hearings and adoption of ordinances. The first ordinance to be introduced to you will be introduced to you by Councilwoman Case. First, we need to make.
I make a motion that we amend the agenda to bring ordinance off of the table pertaining to an ordinance relating to a general spending freeze.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. There's any discussion about it. Public will bring this off the table at this time. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to know when this ordinance.
Name, please.
Oh, sorry, Debbie from 414 Mississippi. I just want to know when this ordinance was introduced. I don't recall it. So if you tell me when that was introduced, I appreciate it. Thank you.
It was initially introduced, thank you for the question, back in, once again, sometimes it was initially introduced, and it was tabled.
January, thank you.
January?
Thanks, Charlotte. You know what you said, Ms. King. I'm not for sure we didn't bring that information with us in the report. Any other discussion in the public? There being no other discussion, any discussion by the council? There being no discussion.
Sure, I'll go first. I have discussion.
This is for the amending the agenda, sir.
I understand completely what it's for. So basically, I'm struggling with this because we just had a great meeting last week on the budget. When Ms. Cates originally brought this forward, she said that she was bringing it forward because we hadn't really made progress on closing out 2022, as well as the budget. Well, you all have had the budget last week. You didn't need quorum to introduce the budget. So I don't think that's on the administration. Secondly, when it comes to closing out 2022, we just informed you all last week, that Eisner Amper has all the information and we're waiting on them. Ms. Cates has been following this closely, so she knows that. I just struggle to see the necessity of the spending freeze. And if one council member votes nay, it can't come off the table. I'm asking someone to vote nay. Thank you.
Any other public discussion on the amendment? There is no public discussion on amending the agenda. Is there any council discussion on amending the agenda? There being none, I call for a vote by roll call, please, to amend the agenda.
Vice President Irvin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Douglas,
Aye.
Councilwoman Smith,
Aye.
Councilwoman Cates,
Aye.
Councilwoman Temple,
Aye.
President Harris.
Aye. Motion carried. Amendment's been written. Miss Kate, if you would, go ahead with your ordinance introduction, please.
Yes, be it ordained, suspend authorizations must always be given by the council through the budget process or by single appropriation. And whereas according to the Louisiana Local Government Budget Act, the fiduciary responsibilities of a public official or officer charged with the responsibility of planning, adopting, amending, and implementing the budget are significant and serious. Any public official who knowingly or intentionally adopts, amends, and implements an adopted budget wherein expenditures exceed the funds available may be found guilty of malfeasance in office and subject to the penalties contained therein, that criminal status, revised statute 14-134. Whereas a discretionary general spending freeze may determine a projection or forecast in variances, a 5% or greater shortage in revenues, or in 5% greater overages and expenditures. And whereas contributing factors of the general spending freeze are as follows: numerous extensions granted by the Louisiana auditors in order to complete closeout of 2022 books, includes the statewide agreed upon procedures for the year ended December 31st, 2022. Failure to provide a 2023 revised budget, and by the Bogalusa City Charter timeline of 2024, the budget was overdue, but it's done now, correct? And request of timelines of 2024 budget, okay, according to expenditures and revenues report in accordance to the section 4.04, however provided. In addition, monthly balances and income sheets shown reflect. And I do have revised statute 39-1311, which I'll be reading and put the reference to the budget. Whereas the city may operate 50% of the 2022 budget, thus the freeze shall be in effect until the budgets are in place in order to secure revenue is in place to pay bills and increase the city's surplus. Whereas general spending freeze includes and determine a hiring pause for positions not impacting the service, adding or creating new staff positions, reducing funding for facilities related to capital projects, discontinue all non-essential discretionary functions. A line item veto will be considered to the budget items. Whereas the exception of the across the board may pay increase in excess of 2% per annum. So that is, the 2% is not within the freeze. The following shall include the city council review and approval: bids and requests for proposals in accordance with ordinance 3709 dated 10/04/22, in accordance to Bogalusa City Charter section 4.04, review assertion of funds available for payments of all contracts purchases, orders, and in any other documents which incur financial obligations for the city, and that such documents are in accordance with established procedures. A monthly statement of revenues and expenditures to show the financial condition of the city and all intergovernmental grants. In accordance to the Bogalusa City Charter, Section 409, review and approval of administrative reorganization. And we're in the process of reviewing the reorganization with the budget having been presented to us and the salaries within the budget itself. Also, I would like to bring to your attention, as I mentioned, the mayor is correct on the 2022 closeout. We went from, in our discussion on last week, we went from probably 20 pages down to 1 page, but there has not been a report, a written report of our worksheet of exactly where we are, and we would like to have a timeline as to when E&A would exactly have their documents together, because from what I understand, but we need to get the document, it may possibly be until June that we will have the timeline completed by E&A, in addition to that information being forwarded to our CPA, Ms. Becky Hammond. She has her documents, whereas she will forward her information to the legislative auditors. And then at that way, once we get our 2022 in place, our comptroller, Mr. Bailey, will be able to give us some defined balances, fund balances, beginning and ending fund balance, and we know exactly where we may be with our funds within the city of Bogalusa. This is only a temporary freeze, and primarily, as I indicated, if I may read to you, the budgetary authority and control by Louisiana Revised Statute of 1311, which is what is followed in the Louisiana Budget Act. The adopted budgets and any duly authorized amendments shall form framework from which the chief executive or administrative officers and members of the governing authority of the political subdivision shall monitor revenues and control expenditures. The chief executive or administrative officer for a political subdivision submit to the public participation as provided Revised Statute 1307. Number 1, total revenues and other sources plus projected revenues and other sources for the remaining of the year within a fund are failing to meet total budgeted revenues and other sources in 5% or more, which is within the ordinance itself. Number 2, total actual expenditures and other uses plus projected expenditures and other uses for the remainder of the year within a fund are exceeding the total budgeted expenditures. So at this point, we don't know if we are exceeding the total expenditures or if we are under those expenditures. Annual beginning fund balances within a fund fails to meet estimated beginning fund balances to 5% or more, and fund balances is beginning use to fund balances in yearly expenditures. At this point, once again, we don't know if we are exceeding the 5% variances in our balances, and until we get a a controlled number, we will not go, and we may possibly, unless, Mr. Bailey, if you can definitely define if we are over the variance or not, or if we are even over 50% at this point. We don't know.
clarify something?
Excuse me,
I don't know.
could you,
We're not going to read the orders, let her finish, please. Go ahead, Ms. Tate.
the written notification is required by the section, as well as any, responsive action taken by the governing authority or independently elected official shall be transmitted to and retained by the other budget amendment. So, on last week, once again, we did discuss in our meeting, we discussed the fact of the 2022 close out the updates where we are gaining in that area. We also discussed the fiscal administrator's report, which will affect our budget. And I just read the AG opinion on it. So at this point, I'm done with the actual ordinance is in the packet for review, but I do make a motion at this point to pass this ordinance as read.
We have a motion on the table, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the public on this matter?
Long lost, 736 months. I've been in this a long, long time. And what I'm hearing, and the publishing time, and what I'm hearing now is attempt to tie the administrative hand from running this city. A line item veto. He's supposed to give the administration a budget and pass a budget. And he's supposed to be the chief administrative officer of this city. And he's supposed to run that budget. Now, all of a sudden, you want to take control and watch the tax dollars. What happened in the previous administration? Now, you're talking about malfeasance. The previous mayor wasn't the only one guilty of malfeasance. When the council sits there and allows it to take place, and then you find out you got money missing that can't be accounted for, that previous mayor is not the only one that's responsible. Because the citizens of this community, they put out council to oversee, not to tie the hands of the administration. I'm saying, we lost a good councilwoman. And she was concerned about our community. And she was concerned about our youth. She required water. She didn't make a lot of noise. She got things done. And from what I'm hearing here tonight, it's a bad reflection on this council, how they're treating the citizens of this community and this administration.
All right, thank you all. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you for 1931 deed with. I see a conspiracy going on here with this council group against this new elected mayor. That's what I see. And this is not the first time I said it. This is Mama Job in this case up here reading. Ain't nothing but a conspiracy to try to tie the citizen and the mayor hand from moving this city forward. But what you all need to be doing is getting you all should be investigating. Because you're the one holding this up. Y'all holding this thing up and somewhere in the sense.
Talking about this, Mr. Farrell.
I'm talking about it. Oh, yes, I am.
You accused us of being malfeasant. You want to accuse us in the court of law. You want to file charges on us, file the charges. The ordinances, before you talk about the ordinance, and sit down one of the two, sir.
You know what?
No, I don't know.
When you touch somebody's heart, they can't take it.
No,
So I'm touching your heart.
You're right.
And the truth got to be told.
I stood here to listen.
It got to be told. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the city.
You have a seat, sir. Take him out, one of the two, sir. One of the two. He can finish his council meeting or whatever. We're not gonna sit up here.
You can't stand the heat.
No, I can't take the heat. I'm not gonna listen to you put out on this council anymore. You've done city work.
I already need to be locked up.
Well, good. I'll be charged. Do what you've got to do. Any more council, any more discussion from the public? If you've got discussion on this ordinance, Ms. Now, you discuss it in ordinance.
No, I
You want to talk
don't-
about the council, then you talk about
Hold
the
it
council.
down because I'm always respectful with you.
Okay, that's right. That's what I'm asking you for now.
Hold it
That's all
down.
I'm asking you for now.
I'm saying hold it down.
Yes, ma'am.
That was really inappropriate.
Okay, good. Now you said your piece. Is that all you want to say?
No, but you need to be aware that I don't talk to you that way. I'm always.
Okay, good.
Unnecessary. First of all, I'm totally confused. It says amend the agenda to take an ordinance off the table. That's what we expected.
It's already done, ma'am.
No, listen to me.
We're listening.
What, no, don't do that.
It's already been done. Why you want to talk
No,
about something?
she went through a whole lot of things. Are we taking the ordinance off the table or is she introducing an ordinance? And if she's introducing an ordinance, where is it in this package?
The ordinance has already been introduced, ma'am. We're both on the ordinance now. You're discussing the ordinance.
All right, so my question is, where is the ordinance in this package?
Right here on
It's
number
not,
8.
it's not there. I had the same
It's
question.
not there. Did anybody anticipate you were going to do this? Did we get a chance to review this ordinance? No, we did not. It's not on the agenda, and you can't just do that. Okay? Not only that, I seriously, no. The only thing on here, read it again, Gloria. It said, amend the agenda to take an ordinance off the table. There is absolutely nothing in there that says introduction of an ordinance. It was introduced in January. How long did you get to introduce it again? And where is it in the package?
Listen, ma'am.
Where is it?
There's two separate things here. One would take the amendment off of the table. That would be amendment. Don't do the amendment. We passed the amendment. Now we're talking about the ordinance. The ordinance we said requested is the general spending freeze in the city of.
Okay, and where is that? Where is that?
Yes.
Where is that? Where is that in the package?
Right here on number 8. It says, related to the general spending freeze in the city of Bogalusa as proposed by the Bogalusa City Council, introduced by Councilwoman Chambers.
Yeah, and we get 20 pages of a stupid water thing that we don't even understand, and you don't even have the guts to put out this ordinance. And yeah, I'm being a little bit rude. When you start doing things like calling malfeasance in office, we're really running into trouble. I'm really ashamed of this council. I'm ashamed of you, Gloria. This is really unacceptable behavior. And if we want to talk about malfeasance, let's talk about calling council meetings when you know you won't have a quorum. I am disgusted and upset and ashamed of you all. Seriously.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Is there any more discussion on the budget, on the agenda, about the ordinance? We're going to pass or fail?
I know this is probably the hardest situation this council has had to deal with, and probably the hardest you'll have during this term of office. I commend you for taking it up. I understand you have no choice when you cannot get the finances from the administration to know the position the city is in financially. You have to do something to take care of the persons in the city. Mayor, it's my turn. But the council has been over backwards, over and over and over. For months, they haven't had information as far as how much money we have or don't have. They're required by law to keep up with all that. They're the overseer of the budget, and you can't oversee a budget you don't have, or you don't get any information to know how it's doing. I commend you. I'm glad to see you doing it. I know it hurts you have to do it, but thank you.
first, I would like to point out that the wording that Ms. Page was using, including the word malfeasance, is actually part of the Louisiana Governmental Budget Act. That was not her personally saying that. It's part of the act. And I actually have questions about the ordinance. Why are we using the amounts in 2022 when 2021 is the last year completely closed out? My second question is, what is the city's current purchasing policy on items that don't require an RFP or to be put out to bid? Specifically, who approves those purchases? How will the freeze be monitored? Who currently has the authority to sign city checks? And why aren't any of the council members on the checking account requiring their signature as approval for purchases, along with the mayor, since they are ultimately the two people, the groups responsible for the city finances? That's it.
Your first question is why 2022?
Yeah, why we're using 2022 instead of 2021. 2021 was the comparison that they used in the 2024 budget because 2022 wasn't closed out. So why are we not using that amount instead of the 2022 that we don't actually, that's not been audited yet?
Well, in actuality, we're using 50% of 2023 at this point, since that was the last audit that we actually passed.
The ordinance says 2022 is what are you?
Are you paying on the,
Yeah, it says in the ordinance that.
No, it's extended.
2022.
You mean from the legislative auditors that was completed and closed out of 2022 books?
Right.
Is what she's asking.
Since 2021 is actually the last year that's closed out and audited, why aren't we using those amounts is my question.
well, it's not necessarily those amounts that we're using. It's indicating that the legislative auditors need to complete the 2022 closeouts.
Okay, so y'all are actually using the 2023 budget to base the 50% freeze on,
Yes,
even though it hasn't been amended.
yes.
I can explain that. You proclaim to be an aficionado when it comes to local government budget act. It's in the local government budget act that you have to use the 50% of the prior year's budget.
Right.
You should know that, Ms. Booker.
I do, there's a lot of things in that act that aren't being followed. All right,
Any next question?
my next question was, what is the
RFP.
city's current purchasing policy in regards to items that don't require an RFP or to be put out to bid? Who approves, specifically, who approves the purchases that aren't required to be put out to bid or RFP?
The purchases that are not, that we're intending.
Yeah, like your everyday purchases, like your office supplies, your,
Our approval authority, which is our mayor.
That's false. That's false. But let's try again, because if you don't know the answer to that, then that shows that you don't understand the gravitas of a spending freeze. And I also want you all to know that basically a spending freeze insinuates to the public that there is we're in financial distress, which is not true. But if you all want to pass a spending
but we don't
freeze,
know that.
and it helps.
You're not providing us with the proof that we're not in financial distress.
That's a lie.
We don't have fund balances. We don't have fund balances. How can you say that?
We don't have fund balances because you and your posse, when you were in city government,
No, that's a lie.
First of all, I want to offer my condolences to Ms. Douglas. Council President Pettis. And especially Ms. Danielle, because sitting here, I'm still looking at her seat, not leaving her, my condolences. But I'd like to say to the people that was not here for the budget, I'm going to say to the people that was not here, last week for the budget, I want to thank Mr. Bailey, the mayor, the, city, attorney, all of y'all for bringing and explaining to us about the budget. Now, I've been fighting for this budget a long time and want to know what was going on in the city. I was wondering why. But I see why, now because according to what I saw on the display, what was explained to us, we want, I see where there's a lot of discrepancies in the past administrations. And I'm not trying to make nobody look bad, but I had a used to be mayor sitting on the side of me, and he's agreed to all that Mr. Bailey was saying. And I'd like to hear more, the public would like to hear more from the mayor, just give this time to express to us instead of y'all shutting him down, let him express himself. We want to hear from him. And I don't mind standing up here for the rest of the evening and let you respond on what you want us to know, or what you want us to hear. Because what I can understand is the council's kind of cutting it down and keeping us from hearing a lot of stuff. I'm not trying to go against anybody, but I want to have a better understanding. And I'd like to know about the budget, wants to know about the double standards and the double laws here. I'm in support of good police officers here, firemen and all. But I had something that happened the other day that I got questions about, then I'll get into that later. But I do like to hear what you have to say, Mayor, please.
About
The budget? About whatever, in general, whatever you have to say tonight.
I really just don't know where to start, because I mean, there are so many problems in this ordinance which we'll go through if you all want to go through it. But I'm the only mayor in the past 5 mayors that hasn't borrowed a dime from the state. If we were in dire financial straits, I would be in front of the bond commission right now begging for revenue anticipation loan.
Thank you.
And it's just ludicrous that we're even discussing this right now. And that's what I want the public to know. Because if we're authorizing a general spending freeze, you know what, pass it. And guess what? They give me more authority to make the cuts that we've been discussing that the council has never been able to do. They can't even keep a quorum for important stuff like introducing the budget, but everybody packs out the room for crazy crap like this. Make it make sense. And that is why this city is in the shape it's in. I can't do anything without them, and they're hell bent on ensuring that I don't do anything.
Thank you.
Y'all gotta do better.
And now I say this, I've been talking to a couple of mayors that in the past, and they said when they took over, they had the same problem, but rather than going into a fight, they accepted it and went on that would make them look bad. And I want to commend you for what you're doing, to straighten out so it won't look bad on your administration. And I'd like to ask you, your administration, to work with you and let's get this thing together because you know what the hell you're doing. And I guarantee you that. So excuse me for using it, saying what I'm saying, but I'm not cursing, but he knows what he's doing. Got a smart attorney right there that's right with him, and his public workers. And thank y'all so much.
Ready, council discussion? Go ahead, sir.
Robert Law, 1732 Avenue.
Rob?
So, Law, 1732 Avenue. I have a question on this. So y'all want to do a spending freeze, and I understand that. That's what y'all about to vote on. What is the time frame that y'all looking at to have 2022 done? And once 2022 is done, are we then going to take the spending freeze off, or are we going to extend it until 2023 is done? What is the time frame on this?
Well, as I indicated earlier, this is only temporary. Yes, on 2023, audit has to be closed out. I believe in June, it has to be closed out. But at this time, we're looking at a freeze. We're constantly hiring people. We don't know what the fund balance. Now, as I mentioned to Mr. Bailey, and he did comment on the fund ending balance and beginning balances. I mean, it's just left blank. And until we get everything closed out with those numbers in, we just need to be careful how we spend it,
That's not the question. What is our timeline look like for having 2022 closed out?
Well,
June. So she just said 2023.
No, 2023. 2022 closeout was due in February 1st.
And it's still not closed out. That's my question. What is our time frame for it to be closed out?
we passed the time limit, sir. We are working with E&A, which is the documentation, not from the council, but from finance. From what I understand, most of it has been sent, but we have not received a timeline on when it will be complete. And then once it's complete, as I mentioned, it has to go to our CPA for scrutiny and for the actual calculations, and then it goes to our legislative auditors. Now, we're still dealing with the fact that, you know, we do not have a financial director in place. We have a comptroller in place, but we do need to expedite all of this, but we do need to just watch our spending. That's all this is saying.
That's not all it's saying. You just said we don't have a finance director. You just said don't hire people, we spending too much money, so then I don't hire a new director and let Mr. Bailey run the show, and now you still got a problem.
Well, in actuality,
Please explain, let's go
in
back to the
actuality,
last,
sir,
let's go
I'm
back to
not
the
gonna
last
argue
question.
you back and forth. We all
It's not
know-
back and forth, the
we all-
citizens deserve to know
Excuse
this.
me.
Please
Excuse
answer the
me.
last question.
Excuse
Who
me.
dictates the daily
Excuse
purchasing
me.
policy? Because you
Excuse
stated
me.
that's
Mr.
incorrect.
Mayor, let us finish the council meeting, so you don't hurry.
I am finishing. Mr. President, I will drop a lawsuit on you. Don't play with me. You are violating open meeting law. Don't play with me.
That's fine.
I have the floor and I can speak. I have the floor. Do you want me to leave?
Yeah, if you want to, that's up to you, sir.
Let me speak.
That's up to you.
Let him speak.
Miss Penny, hold your seat, Miss Penny, hold your seat.
I ain't got time.
Hold it. It's a
I
lot
don't
going
never
on.
have time for it.
Right.
That's why you can never get a call. You don't conduct city business.
Right now, I'm double barrel shotgun and both my barrels are loaded and I got my.
I'm sorry, excuse me, sir, we're not able to answer your question, Mr. Law, because the 2020 books have not been closed out, and we're non-compliant at this time, but the administration, in the mayor administration is trying to work diligently to get everything done. If that answers your question, we don't have a time frame, and we do apologize to the citizens, and y'all are paying y'all tax dollars as well as us council people. But the thing is, it wasn't closed out, the 2022 book, and we're on the list as non-compliant for the state of Louisiana. It's public knowledge. We're not trying to hide anything from anybody. I'm just trying to be transparent with everyone. I'm not gonna fix it up. I'm not gonna make no flowery roses. We're non-compliant with the law at this time, and I'm sorry we don't have a date because the date been passed, and we're out of compliance.
Mr.
Okay,
Law,
I got the follow-up question.
Yes, sir.
Can we set a time frame to if it's not done and we do have someone else come in? Or we have somebody come and say, hey, this needs to be fixed, we're gonna step in from outside?
The legislature-
State or federal, anybody.
Now, that's yes, sir.
And watching y'all right here,
Right.
this is sad. I've been
That's
here
right.
for 15 years, I came back to this state.
And thank you
I
for
came
your
back to
service.
Bogalusa. My grandparents were here since the 60s. I'm watching nothing but y'all argue over Facebook on my urban page over here.
That's
On
right.
other people, on all these Facebook groups, I'm watching people stand up and leave. Y'all are adults, y'all supposed to be representing the citizens.
Yes, sir.
I've seen privates in the military that are 18 years old better than this. When they try to go into detail, this is sad. And I understand, I want to say it's his age and it's his not experience. But y'all got the experience and we still not getting it done. So we say, hey, you know what? And y'all here talk about everything. What are we doing for
And that's what we're doing. Yes, sir, Mr. Law. We are trying to work with, but once again, we're a legislative body that pass laws. Let's not get the term where the council position is twisted. We don't want to twist the citizens at all of what our duties and responsibilities are. However, we can't set a time because we're not the legislative parties. All we can do is work with the information that's presented to us, and it was presented late.
Then who can?
Now we're non-compliant
Then
with
who
the
can?
state.
So the state, so we have to write the state to get them to set something. For them to come in and say, hey, we're gonna get this at this time frame. Or they're gonna step in, is that what we need to do? I'm asking, because I don't know.
As I mentioned, sir, all of the information has been presented to Eisner and Esner and Eisner, which will do our books. They're looking through, they're attempting to calculate all the
We
documents.
don't have a time frame for this.
Which time?
Yes.
That's my
What he's
question.
asking, 60 to 90 days.
So,
about what
there's
they
a time
say.
frame there.
Okay, that
We're
I'm
gonna
asking
get
you
past the
questions,
time,
Ross.
Mark.
60 to 90 days, and then I personally talked to Becky Hammond. Earlier, if the books were handed in January and February, she could have done them in 60 days. However, Becky Hammond, which is our auditor, is entering a new accounting season. This is fresh and brand new, came after the finance meeting, guys. It will take up to 4 months. So you're talking about
120 days.
4, 5, 6, 7. You're talking about 7 months, and then 6 to 7 months before it's handed, maybe handed over to the legislative auditor for certification. And then the legislative auditor, if there's supposedly something that happened during that time frame, they will turn around and turn it over to the Attorney General of the District.
So we got 4 months from now before it's headed to the next person. And then you have another couple months for them to look at it.
Exactly.
So we're looking at a 7 to 8 month hire for
And that's one of the reasons why
That's my
we need to
question.
be careful how we're spending.
We're
you know,
trying to come off the non-compliance for not failure to turn in the administration is trying to come off the non-compliance list for failure to turn it into legislative auditor. They were given 3 extensions.
Right.
All 3 passed. All 3 went by, okay? Because they couldn't find documentation and all that. Receipts, all kinds of stuff.
And who is that, whose fault is the documentation? If I look something in the military, I'm gonna get pressed. So whose fault is that? I mean, we gotta have somebody in charge of that section?
A lot of-
A lot of this paperwork, they get real.
When this new administration took over, when they took over, they went in and cleaned out the offices over the Christmas
Okay,
holiday.
you're saying they went in.
No,
You're
sir.
saying-
No, sir.
I'm not saying that's what I'm saying.
Before we get done,
That's enough.
before we get done, sir. You want to talk about the ordinance? Just hang around, people talk about the other stuff. Talk about the ordinance.
Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kelly, it's
Ma'am? I'm
Next
asking you to
thing,
follow up.
Rhonda Raymond, 826 East 7th Street, Bogalusa, Louisiana. I came to the business meeting, the last one that y'all had about the budget. I'm not understanding. I thought it was a good meeting. I thought that, you know, everybody was gonna come together. He did a great presentation, Mr. What's his name? Bailey. Miss Case, and I'm not disrespecting you or nothing like that. But the way that everybody was asking questions, like I said, he was very thorough. What happened? What went wrong?
Well,
Can I finish this case?
yes.
That was one of the, I was trying to leave that meeting, which I had to leave a little early, but what happened? I just need to ask one question. So if, okay, y'all say y'all did everything off the 2021 budget, right? He had to compare that with the last 4 budget that was done, 2021, because 2022 and 2023 is not complete, right?
No, 2023 is, we're operating on 50% of 2023.
Okay, so well, let me ask you this question. So right now, from today's date up until like I said, I know how much time you got, how much time you have, but if it's not, if you don't have it together, well, everybody has it together. So that means he'll only be able, the mayor, to operate all 50%, right, of the budget. I'm asking,
Yes,
right?
that's the law, ma'am.
Okay, so that means, well, let me ask you this. That means like any funding for as grants and things like that is gonna be held up.
Well, that's according to the non-compliance list. The legislative auditor, their accounting department has indicated, as long as we're on that non-compliance list, we're not privy to any grants. We're not privy to our any bonding. We're not privy to any state grants or any federal grants that come through the state. Now, direct federal grants is something different, like our airports as well. But it's very restricted. We're gonna be on a listing with the federal we're just gonna be underneath the actual micro.
Okay.
Right.
And the last
As long as we are on this list. Hopefully we'll get off this list. We just received a timeline on it, but our hands are somewhat tied because if you did know during the meeting, I did ask the specific question of Mr. Bailey. As long as we have no fund balances according to this law, we cannot pass budget without a fund balance and without knowing the numbers coming within the fund balance. And if you look at the budget, which everyone should have a copy, but they're just blank lines, we have 2023 in the budget. There's listed numbers in there, but we have no fund balances. And according to the law, our hands are tied. We cannot, as I told Mr. David, if he gives a written recommendation for us to go ahead and pass this budget without fund balances, I'll do it. But we're following the law. We're following the law. And as I said, hopefully it will not be of a long time frame. Mr. Bailey had indicated that there's a meeting tomorrow with E&A discussing our closeout. I have not received a written track on it where we are, but from what I understand from me and the mayor, everything's been turned in from our finance department. The council needed to turn in one piece of information, which that was done already. But everything else, from what I understand, has been turned in. So it's up to them to go ahead. Hopefully we can expedite even our billings for our HB2 bills, our community center is tied up. From what I understand, the money's there, but until we get off the list, we can't make a move.
So last question that I want to ask you, and I'm just asking because I just want to know, when y'all come before to introduce the audience and stuff like that, what you presented to us today, the public, do y'all get with the mayor and discuss all this before the meeting?
Well, what we do, I know what I do, is that if there's a resolution or if there's an ordinance, it's written and it's read through our city attorney. And our city attorney, is he here?
Yes.
Okay. Our city attorney goes through recommendations on our ordinances. I'm not going to ask a question in public like this, but that is the process. That is what I do. I run it through somebody before, it's put on the president decides what goes on the agenda. So.
Well, and after this, I'm going to sit down.
And before, one other point, and before Ms. Brown left, we were going to get together to see exactly where we were in our finances. There's been public records requests submitted for bank statements or what have you. And at this point, as I said, hands are tied until we get this 2022 closeout done, and we'll know exactly where we are with our fund balances and how much money we have within the city.
You've got a minute and 44 seconds left, sweetheart. I'm stopping.
The last thing that I want to ask, y'all, we're going to have to give our mayor more respect than what we give him. Maybe before y'all come to the council meeting, y'all can meet again, because like I said, this is just a circus show. And we all grown here and we can respect one another. If nothing else, moving forward from this day, let's respect each other more. That's the only way that the city is gonna come together. And then also maybe if y'all could meet with the
the mayor's gonna just don't say, bam, this is it. You know what I'm saying? Let's just try to work together. You know, it's gonna take hours. His head is gonna be tired if y'all don't move with him. I'm just asking y'all, please, so we won't have all this here. You know? Thank you.
Cornelia Daniels, 821 Tallahatchie Street, Bogalusa. Only thing I have to say, I have said in previous meetings in the previous administration, it has never been like this. Every meeting I have been to since Tyron has been elected, it's arguments, it's fussing, it's bickering, every meeting. And the last thing I have to say, y'all stood on this stage Saturday and talked about unity at a funeral. And this is the mess we have to deal with.
Yvette Preston, 641 St. Augustine Street. I know we're not gonna get anywhere tonight, but moving forward, aren't we having quarterly budget meetings, and monthly? And are we phase managing these budgets out with your local purchases and the broader spending? Because we should be having budget meetings 90 days in advance, so we don't have to get ready at the last minute. We are already ready. So if we can do anything better, let's just get these budget meetings on a regularly scheduled, so these things can be worked out prior to get to the city council meeting. That's all I have to say.
Yes, ma'am, and we do have finance meetings since I've, the last person, March 2023, I'm in 2024, and it's open to the public, our finance meetings.
All right, is that for the budget or just finance?
Just finance. Now, we did have one in reference to the budget back in February 19th, in order to receive, to go through the budget. And then,
every three months.
I agree with it. And moving forward, as you said, 2023, I believe our auditor has already requested an extension for the closeout for 2023, so we can start preparing, the finance department to start preparing for 2023, so that we won't run into this. And all of the documents that they need.
If we stay ready, we don't have to get ready when it's time to sign, but that's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Jasmine Brister, 901 Bascom Avenue, Louisiana. It has taken every fiber in me to make myself get up here and talk. We have lost people. We are losing kids. Kids are taking kids' lives. I am 34 years old. I have never witnessed the behavior that we display. I'm tired. Y'all should be tired. We should be tired. We live in the same community. We live in the same town. I don't care about nobody's age. I don't care about nobody's race. I don't care who was previously in charge. I only care about what we can do to stop and come together. People laughing at us. I am disgusted. I'm disgusted. I'm frustrated. I'm hurt. Y'all not tired. Y'all not tired of fighting? I'm serious. How are we supposed to move forward as a community and as a city if this is what we have to look forward to? How are we supposed to tell kids under us, this is what it is, and this is what they have to face and look at? It don't have anything to do with age. Just being respectful to each other and coming together, because that is the only way we are going to move forward. We just lost a giant. And I said a giant. We just lost a giant. I don't need to elaborate on the works that she's done. Y'all have known her longer than I have. If that wasn't enough to make somebody stop and think and care enough about each other and our city to come together, I don't know what else will. If that don't open your eyes, we only got one life to live. Y'all know tomorrow not promised for nobody. And this is what we choose to do every day with our 24 hours. That's enough. It should be enough. So if that didn't open y'all eyes, I'm sorry to say, I don't know what will. I really don't. That's enough, y'all.
Ready council discussion on this ordinance?
This is not on the ordinance, and I'm totally not about to speak about the ordinance. But I'm not about to sit here and allow anybody to disrespect the council, the mayor, each other. We're not gonna sit in here and we're not gonna disrespect one another. So, with that being said, I'm 42 years old and I was taught you respect your elders. And we have to be mindful. And if you was not taught that, I'm gonna say it. Respect your elders. We are here to disagree, but we're here for the betterment of the city. Now, we don't always have the information presented to us, so we're working with the best to our ability of what we have when information is not submitted on time. This is not a game. I don't take it to be a game. I don't disrespect no one in here, and no one should disrespect anybody. And yes, people are going to say, we're going to watch the circus. We're not a circus. Because the God that I serve is never in the midst of the center of confusion. We have several people who are sitting in the audience who have sat in our shoes. It is a disgrace for us to disrespect one another, and we're all humans. No matter if we're white, black, young, old. We're going to have to gain control of our mouths, and we're going to have to do some self-control. Sit back, say a prayer, reflect, pray to whoever it is you may pray to before you get up. Because I'm going to ask the president to take it all the way back before anyone is allowed to speak, not just to write your name on there, but to tell us what you're going to speak about. We'll take it all the way back to the old days if we have to, because this is getting out of control. We are getting out of control. Like I said, I am speaking. I respect y'all, and y'all need to speak, respect everyone that get up. We just had a young lady come to the poll. She's young, she's vibrant, and she makes moves in the city. She's trying to give back. Her, Miss Khalil, she's young, she's trying to do her best to give back. And me as a 42-year-old female, I don't care if they like me or not. I love them, and there's nothing they can do about it. Because the bridge that I'm building, they shall one day cross. No matter what it is, I try to make sure that I'm an example for all. And once again, we gotta have respect. Because what just went on is very disrespectful. We don't need to have pastors in the audience talking. First thing a pastor learns is obedience.
To who?
I hope to God.
You got to God.
I hope to God. We have to have obedience. We're trying to work to move this city forward. We don't want to go back. That's the reason why we have a young mayor. Because we know that the city is brighter with a young mayor. We're not up here to fight and work against him. That is not our purpose. That is not what we're up here doing. We're following orders just as well as he's following orders. When we don't have information provided to us, it reflects, because you can check the website. We're out of compliance. Now, Mr. Bailey, you're sitting over there. You can stand up and speak. Be very transparent with the citizens. Don't try to make it seem like it's just the mayor. Don't try to make it seem like it's just the council. It is an error. We made an error. We apologize. We are working trying to get it to move forward. The mayor has submitted everything that he's supposed to, but we're still out of compliance. To Miss Michelle, we're not allowed to get any grant funding according to the state because we are
So people, I ask that y'all reason with us, open up your thinking caps, and let's learn that when you're out of compliance, you are not allowed to get any grant funding. Any, no matter where it's coming from.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there any other council discussion on this order?
Well, in addition to that, our contracts is jeopardized as well. There are no contracts that we can get until we're off that list. And my final statement is that no, we are not here to work against the mayor. We're not here to do that. We're here to follow the law. As I told Mr. Bailey, I'm too old to go to prison for not following the law. We do not have a fund balance. You can't pass a budget unless, I don't know who could give us authorization to pass the budget without a fund balance. But according to the law I just read, the state statute, our hands are tied. This is short-lived, this freeze. We have hiring done. We have a ordinance that we get a hiring list as part of transparency. I'm not sure if the administration is aware of that, but we have hiring done. We just want to be careful in our spending. We have to be careful in the spending, and that's my final note on that. It's not against anyone, but it's for the law.
Mr. President. Mr. President. I'd like, since I've been called upon, I'd like to make a statement. A lot of talk about the 2001 actual fund balance that I used in the budget that was presented to you that seems to be your holdup. Let me point out to you that, the budgetary law says that the most recent actual fund balance should be there, which would be 2002. Okay, well, we're still working on 2002 for whatever reason. It's coming, it's close to being done, okay? And I told you when I introduced this budget with the 2001 column that 2 auditors from Eisner Amber recommended that I do that. And the reasoning behind it was that the same mayor who did 2001 was the mayor under the 22, okay? So they would be similar in comparison when you're doing that with a budget. That's what most people do when they look at numbers in a budget. So what's happened is what I need to explain to you is that each one of those columns that are done in compliance with the Budgetary Act stand on their own. In other words, the proposed column is I'm presenting a balanced budget based on my estimate of revenues and expenditures. So when the 2002 report is finalized and actualized, those numbers will either add to or take away, bottom line. So if the previous administration had a revenue, we're going to get the benefit of it. They didn't, it's going to be a deficit, bottom line, in that particular fund balance. So I'm just saying that it's up to you. I don't know if a legislative auditor has told you that not to pass a budget that does not have the 2002 actual. You understand? You can't have the 2003 actual because 2023 is not over yet.
Right.
I mean, excuse me, it's over with, but that report's not due until June 30th of this year.
Right.
And we were all in hopes, it was my hopes when I came in here, that we would complete the 2002 audit and then move right on into the 2023 and be off that compliance list.
Right.
sure that's gonna happen. I'm gonna have a big meeting with the Eisner Amber people tomorrow morning, and that's gonna be the first question I'm gonna ask them, because as far as I'm concerned, from what I'm understanding, they have all the information they've asked for us, and the rest is on them now. Their analysis of the system is what we're waiting on now.
Okay.
So, has anybody got any other questions about the budget? I don't know you.
Not right now, we don't.
The legislature.
Well, my comment, Mr. Bailey, I would like for the public to understand, until we get those numbers in from the Eisner and Esner, E&A, until we get those numbers in, and when they get their numbers to our CPA, and then she gets the numbers to, let's say, the auditors, this freeze is simply saying we need to be careful of what we're spending, because we don't know at this point until everything is finalized.
Well, can I ask you a question on that?
Yes.
This is the first I've been aware of this spending freeze, since I'm probably gonna be pretty instrumental in spending
Yes.
money and approving expenditures. Tell me what expenditures you're talking about. You telling me
Okay.
you don't want me to pay our people that we do business with? Is that what
I just read it in the ordinance, what it affects, and I'll read it again.
No.
I'll make sure you get a copy. You should have a copy. You have one.
Is there any further discussion from this council on this ordinance that's on the table? There being no further discussion, I call for a vote by roll call.
Vice President Urban,
Aye.
Councilwoman Douglas. Councilwoman Smith,
Aye.
Councilwoman Cates,
Aye.
Councilwoman Temples. Aye. President Kelly.
Aye. The next order to be introduced to you by Vice President Irvin.
A ordinance to set new rates for the residential fees for new construction. The very back page, y'all.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the public on this matter?
Need a grant 110.
Speak in the microphone, sir.
I did, I thought it was. Only grant 110 Grand Drive. I was looking at the cost on these. Can I get the current prices people are paying? Does anybody know, like it says, impact fee 500, how much is it now? Anybody know how much it is now? All right, where it has, infrastructure capacity, $2,500 for water, gas, and sewer, $2,500, how much is it now? Are these increases? Next thing is cover. You said you have to buy your own cover before you put it in. Line extension details about the cost of that. Connection fees. Water for 3/4 meter is $500. 1-inch meter is $600. Sewer is $600. Total $1,100 to $1,200. How much is it now? Do we have any of the cost of what people are paying now? Does anybody on the council know what the fees are currently, or is this an increase, a huge increase, or is this just the first time it's ever been done?
That's an increase, I don't know how much, we don't have the access to the old fees schedule. I don't think it was an impact fee at the time, because I don't know what an impact fee is going to be. I don't know what's going to impact on that part. I'm going to stop it for you to answer this question for you.
This will add a huge cost to
It is an increase, but how much of an increase from what it was, Ms. Green, I can answer that, 'cause I don't have that that information with me at this time.
And y'all are voting on this ordinance tonight, whether you pass it or
It
not.
was already introduced, and there are several things that took place that I'll not mention at this time, that caused us not to be able to get any further with finding out more about this piece of paper than what we've got. There's a lot of things on our table that, I don't know if I do it right.
It just
Go
seems-
ahead and discuss it, let me see if I've got something in mind.
It seems to me we would want to know what the difference is in what the current prices are, and what we instituting.
Sure, I can step in here, but yes, I can.
Thank you.
But I've been quiet to just illustrate the point that I've been trying to make to you all.
Thank
This council does not do their homework. You had a month, basically a month, to do research on this, and the fact that nobody can answer what the current fees are speaks to our current situation. The reason why we're raising these fees is because everybody else around us charges upwards of $5,000 to hook up new homes. When you come to put in an application, we have to dig up the street, connect you to the sewer, and most of the time that requires a contractor to come out and assist the public works crew, costing us on an average about $4,500, $5,000 per hookup. We're still not asking people for $4,500 or $5,000, but the current fee is $250. And I think that's substantially too low
Is that
because
the infrastructure size?
that's the connection fee. It's a flat connection fee.
Is that the one that's going up to 2,500 and 250?
I'm talking about connection fees, the last box.
Oh, the 1,100 to 1,200 is now 250.
Right.
Okay.
It is listed in the, on the website for Public Works, that amount for the connection fee.
250?
Yeah, that can be very.
What about the others?
The others per unit from what
Do we even have an impact fee?
This is new.
What about the second thing, the infrastructure fee?
That's new also.
That's new as well.
That's 3,000, I think it's added on to it. And it's been in the past that a new construction, that the city would put in a culvert to a driveway to a home, but now the people are going to have to buy their own culverts, right?
Yeah, that's been in effect.
Actually, that's been for a while now.
Yeah, that's a new construction.
Culverts.
Okay.
That's been actually for a while now, when we had to buy home.
I thought it was only if you had additional ones. Okay.
And the parish installs.
Constituents in my district was told that they would have to supply their own culverts. But however, those were city culverts and they were very old, like 60, 70 years old. And there were some culverts that was collapsed. So it, remember that's existing construction. So there's another additional question.
Okay.
And within District A, the constituents were given a resource by the parish to purchase where they could go, as Mississippi, where they go and purchase their culvert, and then the parish would install those culverts.
Or the parish installs it for the city. Thank you. One other question.
That was processed.
You said these fees were comparable to those cities around. Could you tell me some of those cities?
Sure, Big Springs, Slidell, Covington, Abita, Springs,
Okay.
Slidell,
Okay.
Covington.
Okay.
And St. Tammany also has impact fees.
Yeah, I know. St. Tammany is a very high tax parish all the way around. They have people that make lots of money down there. Their buildings are all more expensive. And it's just, the cash flow down there is not like it is here. People are able to pay more than
Ms.
it
Graham,
is here.
Ms. Graham, with all due respect, I don't know what y'all want from me at this point. We're talking about we're spending too much money, oh, we don't have money, let's cut some stuff. Oh, no, we don't want to cut. Well, let's raise some fees. Oh, why are we raising fees? What are we doing here?
But do you think this is going to cut out home builders from located, maybe locate outside the city?
Sure, because there are 10 new homes being erected every day in Bogalusa, sure.
3 after H. I want to clarify, it says multifamily, so does that, but that is going to include single-family residence, and the multifamily will be considered a unit?
I did pose that question to Ms. Adams. I'm not sure, and from what I understand, it includes both single and multi-family.
Okay, because it said multifamily
Yes,
at the
in
top, but
parentheses.
then the wording was a little, so I want to clarify that. I would like to know what are the criteria and who determines, who is on the approved, contractor list? Why can't the resident choose their own licensed contractors if they are going to be, expected to pay the fee? What service is associated with the impact fee? And has or will the cooperative endeavor agreement with the parish be canceled? And where will this revenue be spent?
Well, I do know in reference to the
Cooperative endeavor agreement?
yes, endeavor agreement. We do have to, the terms of this particular agreement, as the agreement was done July 1st, 2008, and until June 30th of 2009. And it indicates if we are going to entertain in changing that particular intergovernmental agreement that the city of Bogalusa had with them, that we have to give a notice,
Yeah,
90-day
thing
notice,
also.
to the parish.
So is that the plan to end the agreement with the parish?
I am not certain. I was looking in the packet. I only received 2 pages in this particular ordinance. So, but I did not see a 90-day letter that had been submitted to the parish. The parish, as of this afternoon, indicated that there has not been a letter submitted to them.
Okay.
Anything pertaining to housing is parish committee
Right.
at this time until we. Okay, anything that's pertaining to housing, we have that intergovernmental agreement with the parish. So, as I said, I have not seen, of course, the terms of the agreement. I have not seen the 90-day letter yet, you know, and I'm not certain if we will be submitting that in order to just end the agreement with the parish.
Okay, and I would just like to ask that y'all.
We do
consider
that,
there were less
on the
than
record,
10
we do need the revenue. We do
Yeah,
need the
there were
revenue.
less than 10 houses built in Bogalusa last year. So my next question is, what are the criteria and who determines, who's on the approved contractor list? Anybody?
Not having a list or discussion, in fact, I looked up certain definitions, you know, that was in this particular, scale residential fee, but I do not want to do guesswork as far as contractors. I'm presuming that there will be a RFP to go out, for the contractors. I'm not certain, to your other question, if the residents will be able to select their own.
No, it says right here, on the residential, fee schedule, all 2-inch and above water meters require a city-approved contractor. Residents are responsible for contractor fees.
I do know also in that particular agreement, the individual has to be certified.
Right.
To do.
I mean, that's what I was asking, why can't the person get their own licensed contractor to do it? Why do they have to get a city-approved contractor? And what is the criteria that the city will be using to select their approved contractor? And what service is associated with the impact fee?
looking at the city of Folsom, which specifically has impact fees for the village of Folsom.
So we're gonna charge an impact fee, but we don't know what service we're gonna provide?
The impact fee is normally used whenever it's going to impact, like a business around you, such as a hospital or a big business or something like that, where it will be impacting these people and impacting you with that revenue. And it's building this particular property, from what I understand the impact fee is. When I made a phone call out to Franklin, I was unable to get a hold of the individual I needed to talk to help us out, give us some information about this. So I'm thinking he's back in circulation now, so as far as we can get with this impact fee. I know it does have something to do with affecting hospitals and bigger businesses.
So is everyone gonna be charged an impact fee, or just those that have an impact?
It's universally for all new construction.
Okay.
It says that at the top.
And my last question was, where will this revenue be spent?
Who are you directing your questions to?
Whoever can answer it.
It depends when you come in, where it goes.
Yeah, our comptroller will most likely do a particular fund account for the revenue that's coming in.
Well, it seems like there's just a lot more that needs to be figured out before this is voted on. That's all.
Thank you. Any other public discussion? There being no other public discussion, any council discussion?
I do have council
It's council
discussion.
discussion. Hang on just a minute, sir. I gave you the chance. Go ahead, council.
I do
What you got?
council discussion, going back over my notes, I do see that. Going back over my notes, I do see where it was once 200, went up to 250, but however, I would like to, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm relying on technology. I just would like to say that we do need to increase and we do need a higher residential fee because our fees are low and a contractor is not cheap. So one of her questions was, it states that residents are responsible for a contractor fee. We don't need to be actually putting the city into more debt. So with that being said, with any new residential property, if you're able to afford to build a new residential with new systems being in place, it just comes with what it says, that you do have new fees now and you just might have to, cut back on building your, I'm trying to get my notes together. With the fees, we just, everything is like, we're trying to get caught up to date with the surrounding cities around us. And anyone that's building a new structure should know that going forward, these may be the fees that are set into place so that we're able to generate more revenue, that we're able to generate more revenue. So it's not like anybody's just trying to go against anyone that from building anything new, because definitely we need new structures around the city for beautification. But also too, we don't want you to go to the drawing table and say, well, back in 1980, they were only paying this and building up all these new structures and thinking that we're gonna still pay the 1980 fee. They're trying to bring everything up to 2024. And the cost of living has went up. So, that's right, everything has went up. So we're just trying to be transparent with everyone. We don't want no one to think that one person's picking on the next person. We're just trying to generate more revenue. If that's
and I don't have a problem with that. I just,
Yes, ma'am. and impact fee of $500 or $250, I think that's pretty steep myself,
Mark, you was on this you was a councilman one time, wasn't you?
Pardon?
I said, wasn't you a councilman
Yes,
one
I
day? All right, I don't know if y'all had rules or not, but we do.
Yes,
We're in the council.
Public discussion.
We already had public discussion, now we're into council discussion.
You were talking about this issue though.
Sir?
You were talking about this issue, about the fees. I didn't want to address the fees.
We through with the public discussion on it, Mr. Harvey.
Go ahead, I make a motion that we go ahead and let Mr. Austin speak.
Is there any public discussion about the council, Ms. Doyle?
No, other than I just make it,
he said he'll wait till it's time to speak.
no, on these fees, as I said before, my only concern is that we are in compliance with the parish, because we entered into this contract in 2008 with the parish, and to ensure that we have that 90-day letter in place so that we can proceed with our own residential fees. Now, we have commercial fees, but we do not have anything addressing our residential fees, such as the impact fees and such as the line extensions and the infrastructure capacity. Just doing brief research, it's all around us in different parishes for these types of fees, and we do, as Ms. Michelle has said, need to, and as we all say, we need to move forward for the sake of the citizens. We need this revenue, and that's just my general thought. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other council discussion? No further council discussion, call for vote by roll call, please.
Vice President Irvin,
Nay.
Councilwoman Davis, Councilwoman Cates,
Aye.
Councilwoman Temple,
Nay.
President Kelly.
Before I give my vote, my answer, looking over this, as the mayor said, possibly could have done a little bit better homework on my part. The other thing is, I don't think Bogalusa is big as St. Tammany's Parish, Slidell, or Covington. We're under close to being under 10,000 people in this city as it is. I do agree we do need to raise our rates to a point. I think that's a little steep. I'm not sure what the ordinance in here says, but it does state that if it was passed, that we would, according to what was written in the ordinance, that we would lose money. We would also lose a free service that we get from the parish. We would have to hire someone to do what we're getting for free. So until that is looked into, and looking at the size of our city decreasing, I'm going to vote no this time. Nay. That's going to conclude the meeting at this time. We're going to move on to public participation. First person, Marvin Austin.
Marvin Austin, 736 Florence Avenue, I'm so glad that you brought up population. Part of our problem is our tax base. And we're not doing anything to encourage people. There's no people. That's it. I mean, administration has it, man. But apparently, it's all about you into one of these things just the way they are. I have 6 grandkids. One of them was in Alabama, he's making his own living, making a lot of money. And I have a small one. Baby Black. Mr. Baby. When he first came to Bogalusa, I didn't support it because I thought we had local people that could do the job. And there were. But Mr. Baby proved his worth. Mr. Baby knows money. The first mistake the previous administration made, her first act was to get rid of that man. Y'all want to get out of y'all finances, bad situations now. You will listen to them, you will work with them, and you will work with this administration. Because it's hurting. It's hurting our public. The young and the old. We talk about grants. I was talking to law enforcement, former law enforcement officer today. And I was telling them about when Bill Clinton was in office. And I was on the ground, and they had 100,000 police. And it wasn't just about enforcement. It was about prevention too. Saving these babies before they get out there too far. And we have these children that we have now. There are special forms out there now. I found out that President Biden has several programs, but the citizens are not applying for it. We're squabbling on things. I'm not saying things matter, because everything, when you're working for the public, everything is serious. So our effort will be well spent working together. And for the point, I think I said it before, nothing wrong with that vision. If you want to be mayor, run next time. But we have on there now. We have a council. When I was on the council, Bogalusa was looked up to as a good form of government. Strong mayor, council form of government. That don't mean you're supposed to get a mayor everything you want. But that don't mean you're supposed to disrupt and fight things that he's trying to do, because the public is spoken. They elected you mayor, they elected you council. You represent us. And the public is speaking. We don't want all the fighting going on. We want our city to move forward. Bogalusa is not the only one with problems. I was listening to the news. It's a town in Alabama. 80% African American. They elected a black mayor. They got an all-white council that want to let the mayor take his seat. That's ridiculous. In America. That's ridiculous. We got to do better. I remember we used to have a clean city contest. Bogalusa would win. Mr. Mayor could say. Bogalusa was looked up to. We had elected officials serving positions in the LMA. But now people talk about our community and what we are not doing. We should be concerned about what we can do. And I'm going to miss Danielle Key. Because Danielle, she was a beautiful person, internally and externally. And she was concerned about, because a lot of times I got some of the texts on my phone now when we was talking. When we would get on the phone and we would talk about things, she never, one time, not return my call. But she was busy, she would text me and tell me, Miss Lawson, I'll be getting back with you. She always did. Please don't do this. Serve the community like she wanted to serve. We got to get rid of the personality because it's not helping us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Yvette Preston.
Yvette Preston, 641 St. Augustine Street here in Bogalusa. We really do need to do that. Like he said, Danielle, in this community, the church, her school, Ben Ford, I knew her outside this arena. And I knew her standard and I knew her character. And I respected her because of that. I've never seen Danielle, in any of the council meetings, yell at citizens or anything like that. I've never seen her actually lose a temper in a council meeting.
Thank you.
I've never said that. And I really was trying to get an understanding if we had already decided on the pier being renamed, but I was also informed that a person has to be dead at least 5 years before it can be named after them. So that was my other issue. So I did get educated on that, but we gotta do better than this, y'all. We just gotta do what we got. I mean, and as far as the budget in the government, we have budget meetings regularly. We don't wait till that budget needs to be signed to debate why it's not getting signed. We should have known this 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, that this budget was not moving forward. If we're having regular budget meetings, following the laws of the county, balancing those books, not only with the city, the state, and other legislative governmental bodies, because money is based on the color of the money. It has to be spent for that reason when you're using government funding or city dollars. It has to be allotted for that area of funding. So we do need clarification. And then when we come up on budget, why can't the council give us a brief update on this? Where we are on the budget at the beginning of the meeting. Next budget meeting is scheduled at this day. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that, Ms. President. Ms. Debbie McLeod.
Debbie McLeod, 414 The City. First of all, there's early voting this week. Florida Parish Center has a military renewal, really critical that everybody get out and vote for their kids. Last day to vote will be, election day will be April 27th. So I really hope that people will get out and vote. Question for the council, well actually for Mr. Kellis. Have you nominated somebody for, have you picked somebody to replace for Ms. Key's spot? And when will the special election be held? You can answer afterwards, because I'm going to go through a lot of stuff. Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff to go through, so. So I want to know about that. And then I'm having a continuing issue with the whole publication and putting out of agendas and patterns, okay? So, so we get this huge thing for the water, right? And then we don't get anything for the fees, and we don't get anything from the resolution from this case. You know, I don't understand, and it seems like maybe you need to have somebody who reviews what's being put out and make sure that it gives enough information so people can read it and know what's going on without being so crazy that people don't understand what they're looking at. And it seems to me that it's up to the council. It's not Brenda's job. It's y'all's job to review that, and you're not, obviously, because it's really haphazard about what comes in and how it gets put out, okay? And I just think that somebody needs to take that on and review it, and I'm not gonna hold Brenda responsible for that, that's y'all's job. All right, so this, the one that was handed out today, we had like 20 pages on the water, right? 20 pages, which is a lot of pages and it's expensive, and we've heard about that before. I don't see that that benefited the public in any way whatsoever to see 20 pages on the water. I would have liked to see the fees for the residential. It's not included in my packet. I would have liked to see the entire resolution that you put out. That was pretty critical. If people had seen that before the council meeting started, there might have not been the eruption that there was. I mean, it makes no sense. How you guys, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to take my time to do that. You can respond afterwards. That's fine. No, I'm going to take my time and then you can take yours. Thank you. Not trying to be ugly. I'm just saying that.
Move forward, go ahead.
Yeah. So the next one is the budget. I don't understand what's going on with this, and this will lead to my next bit of conversation. So I attended the budget meeting, financial meeting a month ago when we said that we were in non-compliance, right? And at that time, my understanding was that they tried to give you the budget and you said, no, we won't take the budget now. Then we, no, don't, you can answer afterwards, please. No,
Come on, Mr. Brown.
all right, so I attended that meeting. Then I attended the next budget meeting where again we were told that that it was not appropriate to take the budget. So then I go to the finance meeting and we have no quorum. And we can't take the budget again. So this is like 4 separate times that they have tried to present the budget. And you guys don't make faces at me, please, you will have time to answer. There's 4 separate times that the budget has not been accepted. And you can go back and verify this, I'm not making it up. So the next thing is when you use terms like malfeasance in office, that's a pretty loaded term. I think it was inappropriate. I think that was the thing that set everybody off.
That's
so
a point.
I ran out of time. I did pretty well with that, but anyway. You'll let me finish?
You got 1 minute.
Okay. And then the next thing is that I come to these, I come to these city council meetings all the time. And I will wait and hope that you all will explain what is going on. I keep hoping that you guys at the end of the meeting will sit there and say, look, we're having trouble with the budget and this is what we need from the mayor. We're having trouble with this and this is what we need. That I don't understand what we're doing with this resolution. Mayor, can we find that out? I wait every time and everybody says, well, I hope we have a good day. It's nice, I'm concerned about this, whatever, and thank you very much. And that's it. And every single time I come hoping that you guys will talk about why we're having these problems. Every single time I come hoping that we will hear what the problem is so that we can figure out how to help you fix it. And not once have you guys stood here and said what needs to be fixed. And I'm really tired of it, and this is where we end up. It's not blaming the mayor, and it's not blaming you. You are not communicating. You are not communicating. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, to answer the first question that was addressed to me, yes, there's been names turned into the council on replacing this Keys.
Will we hear about it tonight?
Ma'am, no ma'am, we're not discussing that tonight. Sorry to hear that, but that's right. All right, moving forward, you got any more answers, or anybody want to address their other questions?
In reference to the budget not being received, you were present at the meeting, and it was indicated when we would agree to have the budget to come in. That was on February 22nd. I began to proceed to read the instructions for the legislative auditors, and we did not receive the budget. It's not that we didn't accept the budget, we did not receive it on that day. And according to the legislative auditors, those guidelines was that the budget would be submitted by the mayor, and we had to post it, and it was placed for at least 10 days. Then it's inspected by the...
Did you inform the mayor of that before you came into?
Let her finish this, come on, Mr. Lawyer.
Okay, no, this is during the finance meeting when that was informed. Now, I will have to go back and, to be honest with you, check my emails to see if it was emails, but these were instructions given directly by the legislative auditor. And when you mentioned, I said, malfeasance, that's according to the Local Government Budget Act. That was quoted directly from the act that is in that ordinance. And it is malfeasance. We're all accountable. We're all accountable. We all can be held accountable to a criminal act. So this is very, very serious. If what we do and what we indicate in our different ordinances. And I said before, on this freeze, this freeze is a simple time limit on it according to what E&A does. We're hoping that it's within 6 months, but we need to watch our spending. That's That's it. It's not trying to tie the mayor's hands on it. The mayor's cautious. He's made cuts already within the budget. And then Mr. Bailey has to go back and make some adjustments in the budget. And yes, you were there doing the actual meeting of the presentation of the budget, and it was noted that we didn't have a fund balance, which is what the law addresses.
So you had no quorum.
That's not true. And you can go and pull the records. A quorum for the finance meeting is 2, ma'am. The committee consists of 3. The quorum is 2. Thank you, President Kelly.
The only thing I want to address to you, Mr. McLeod, is you spoke about 2 of the meetings that were canceled. The 19th of March, we had our meeting. April the 2nd, we did not have a meeting because there were 2 tragedies. This table, we feel like they were tragedies. Maybe some people don't care about it, but that's why those 2 meetings were canceled on April the 2nd. And on April the 9th, the other one was because one of the other council persons was distraught and was not able to make this meeting. 2 of them weren't. One of them was at work and wasn't able to get off, and the other one was, like I said, distraught over some situations, and she wasn't able to be here, so that's why we didn't have a quorum. That wasn't able to have that. I'm answering your question. That's why we didn't have a quorum on April the 9th. Now, as far as their finance meetings, they don't have a quorum there. We don't ever meet with more than 4. We can be there, but we don't meet with them. We can be present, but we don't meet at the table like we do now as a quorum. But they had their quorum there, their 2s there, and that made their quorum. Now, that's all I have for you. Those 2 questions you asked, you have something to answer, or? Okay. I hope that satisfied your business. If it didn't, I'm sorry you're bringing up the question. I'll try to get back to you on this.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, thank you. Miss Ellen Carter. I think it's Carter.
Ellen Carter, 1406 Hickory Avenue. I haven't come to too many meetings and I didn't know y'all had a freeze, but I'm gonna have to bring it to you anyway. I live on Hickory Avenue, and we got problems down there with speeding. And I was coming to the meeting to ask to see about getting a speed hump. It's different from a speed bump. A speed hump is just a thick plastic. My grandson, he's 13 years old, and his little friends ride their bike, and they call the police on them. They don't have any sidewalks, they don't have nowhere to play, and they can't play in the road now because they're speeding through there. So I was coming to the city to see if y'all can help me out with this. And I know it's a freeze, but they're very cheap things, it's like $300. And I have a young lady that's graduating. If y'all can look up to me and help me out with it, I'll pay for it myself. If y'all can install it. Because I don't want to see none of my children hurt. That's all I need.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carter.
Okay.
Mr. Frank Farrell.
Thank you for 1931 G-Week. Mr. Mayor, you've been in office 15 and a half months. And I've been seeing you being drugged down the street ever since you've been here. It's time I feel y'all drag this man down the street. And I'd like to know, the 22 budget, shouldn't it have been finished before the other administration left office? Am I correct? It should have been completed, right? But I see all the slack is being thrown towards this man. Why should he be blamed for stuff that somebody else should have completed? That's what I don't like. See, we citizens are being paid stupid, but we're not stupid. Believe that. So you council need to get on the right track and stop trying to lay stuff on this mayor that don't belong on him. Because we're not stupid now. We might look stupid, but we're not stupid. And another thing, I like to see you all hurry up and put a rush on this 22 budget because I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm tired of it. And I'm about to believe that the state is tired of this corruption. Because I see corruption here. Y'all might not like it, but I do see it. I've been in this world 78 years. I ain't just got here. And I've seen a lot of stuff going on in this world. And what I see going on in this council, I see corruption. Y'all can like it or not, that's what I see.
Administrative remarks. Administrative remarks.
I just want to ask a very important question I have to ask me next. If you don't mind, it won't take long. Excuse me. Get so slow. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes. Your minute. 532 Alton Street. I'm concerned about, I want to ask you 3 questions. Is the chief of the police, police department allowed to take their service vehicles home? Is the fire department chief able to take their service vehicle home? And is the mayor able to take his vehicle home? The reason I'm asking is because when a disaster hit Bogalusa, regardless of whether it is a fire or shooting, whatever, they look for all of them to respond. It's no harm. I don't see no harm in them taking vehicles home, but I can't stand to see the mayor's vehicle sitting here. He's a 24-hour administrator for the city, and he should be allowed to take his vehicle home weekends, anytime. He will do his unit for the city. Because under all the last previous administration, regardless of whether they were able to allow to take them home or not, they did so. There's no question about it to the council that I know of. So I just understand why the mayor now cannot take this vehicle home 24/7 because he be called out. Thank you. I like that answer to that question.
Mayor's not taking his vehicle home because he don't want to take it home. The police chief does take his vehicle home, and so does the fire chief and some of the police officers. But if the mayor's car is not going home with him because he don't want to take it home with him, it ain't because the county city couldn't drive home. We ain't got nothing to do with that.
Not aware of it.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you.
Yes, sir, I do take my vehicle home.
Okay.
Some days it is left up here.
Okay, well, thank you, and I'm sorry. I know some people don't like the way I speak, but I stand for what I believe in. And I'm up here, all I can say is to the, you know, please help people understand what I'm pleasing asking, no harm to the team. I never get to the council anymore. I shouldn't get upset. But I'm gonna ask Mr. Fate one question. If I come to you, tell you I got a double-barrel shotgun, if you're not ready to use it, how do you take that?
First of all,
Hold up just a moment. You're public servant. I understand. Hold on, you're public servant. You're supposed to understand. You can give me some criticism.
you didn't hear the correct.
I heard what I heard, and everybody take it the same way. I understand.
Why you gotta ask Mr. Fate? Why you can't ask me? Because I'm the one saying.
I understand. Miss W, please calm down.
No,
I understand.
that's something I said. So
But
to
you
me,
don't do
you
that.
talking
Yeah,
about
look here, let me tell you something. Well, a couple of years ago,
No, you're right.
you want to run your way, but I got you going. When I was $33,000 taking
You wanna
the
answer
in
the
the bank,
question?
we
You
called the
answer.
police on disability response. I feel like doing more than you. I want my $33,000 here.
Go.
Yes. I'll pay sorry.
Administrative remark.
It's almost like where do you start? I want to just address a few lies because they're just that, lies. This council is lying when they say that they haven't received financials recently. You all can go back and watch the live stream 2 meetings ago where they are all saying the opposite. Well, we're all happy that the city's all coming together and the administration is providing us with what we need. Now tonight is we haven't received any financials. That's a lie. Go verify it for yourself. The second thing, I think that they showcased tonight, they don't do their homework. And I find it insulting, it's degrading, and it's downright disrespectful that people who can't even come to meetings twice a month want to come in here and act like they know more than the people who handle this crap every day. I am so sick of everybody acting like they handed me a Cadillac when y'all handed me a Caprice that was broken down 20 years ago. If we gonna be honest, let's be honest. I have never seen a mayor be treated like this. And I'm not just saying it because it's me, because I I'm not perfect. I haven't did everything right in terms of watching how I address people, but when you come at me a certain way, you gotta know, I'm gonna come back. Because at the end of the day, the people elected me to sit here. I ran a campaign on change. And the same people that were against me then are the same people that are against me now. Ms. McLeod and a few other people spoke up and said, well, what's the difference between the last meeting last week where everybody was singing Kumbaya and today? I'll tell you the difference. Because there have been backroom meetings since then. Ask yourself who these people are serving, because it's not you. You want to know who a spending freeze impacts the most? The same people we all claim we care about, these kids. We said non-essential items. So is youth corps non-essential? When we cut the homicide rate to 0 last summer versus deadly summers every year before. But hey, what do I know? I just want to say to the public, you are paying for their ignorance.
Thank you.
And since we're so big on accountability and fiscal responsibility, fiduciary responsibility, I say that we should introduce an ordinance that says that when council members don't come to the meetings like they're supposed to, they don't get paid. Since we care so much about saving every dime that we can. The goalpost keeps moving. First it was, oh, we don't have a budget. We breaking our backs in here to get a budget. Then we introduce this, I don't see a budget. Oh, well, the auditors told us this. The auditors would not be pressing me, coming to meet with me saying, Mayor, let's get this budget done. Let's work together. Let's get this done. They know that we don't have fund balances. They know what predicament we've been left in by the former administration. They've been here since last July. They know. Who do you think knows more? The state auditors are these people that want to tell you and sell you a pipe dream. I'm getting sick of this crap. Lastly, I would just like to acknowledge that the city of Bogalusa continues to lose people. Just yesterday, we lost one of our best plumbers to an ATV accident. Everybody wants to get up here and say they love the Lord and this and that, and I pray for my enemies. Y'all know who I'm talking about. We need to just pray a little harder. Thank you.
I would like to piggyback off of Mr. Farrell, and I took office January of this administration with cameras wiped, with hundreds of boxes gone that were toted off. And when a public works director has to figure out where to find rocks because there's no records. So you think we're not hamstrung? We've been hamstrung for 15 months. And he's the master orchestrator, and I assist with the orchestra. But we've been catching up, I promise you. I had to take the stand and testify to this. So I was on the road, and I'm on the road now, in the eyes of God. But we've been hamstrung for 15 and a half months, I promise you. But I want to, in closing, I just want to say Ms. Keys was a consummate professional. Yes. She was a professional. I'm going to miss her. And that's all I got to say.
She's the only one that does that. Ms. Smith? Council discussion, Ms. Smith?
I would like to take this time to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you for all y'all concerns. And thank you just for the concern of the city. And remember to, don't forget to go out and vote. Let's remember to support our local businesses. Let's remember Family Day, April 2nd. remember
We need
that.
to do that. Being respectful. Thank you.
People don't have no respect for you.
And let's remember Family Day, April the 27th, 11 to 4 p.m. in McCaskey Park. Also, thank you to the Parks and Rec Department. Y'all been doing such a wonderful job. They have movie night April the 20th at 7:45. These events are free. You can purchase items from the vendors that are going to be there. Let's remember if you have any medications that you have not used, the local police department has a bin where you can drop off those medicines. We see so many kids who are just being bullied and overwhelmed, who are taking overdoses. So let's remember any medicines that we're not using to drop them off at your local police department. I would like to commend the police for a job well done, the local fire department. Also, last Saturday, I witnessed myself a police officer who did not abuse authority. A lady got out of the car, cursed him out for everything she could think of. He remained very professional, so thank you to the police officer who remained professional. Let's remember to keep the Keys family in prayer. Let's remember to she's definitely going to be missed. She leaves behind one child. So let's remember to keep her son, her husband, and everyone lifted in prayer. I would like to thank Mr. Joel before he leaves at the door doing her funeral arrangements, and after he did stay behind to direct the traffic. He took his cap off to make sure traffic was flowing right. And I'm definitely gonna miss the conversations between us on the phone, me, him, and Danielle over the phone. So, but thank you, Mr. Joel, for staying back to the direct the traffic. It went really smoothly due to your help. So I just want to thank you for that. I know it was hard. I know y'all shared a special bond. So she's truly gonna be missed. Yes. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Austin, too. I know you get up with very concerned statements. You have said it out and where we're sitting at. So, and you're still coming back. You know, no matter if it's constructive or not, it's still a voice. And, you know, at least you're not sitting at home. At least you're coming to show your concern, and that takes a lot. You know, and I know you personally have a lot going on. And I definitely want to continue to keep you and your family lifted in prayer. And don't think that what you say up here, that I'm taking it like you're fussing at us, because I write down notes and I go back and study, and you know, so I do want to thank you for your time and your consideration, but I want to speak for Tamura, your councilwoman at large. I'm not here to play games or fight with the mayor. That's not what you elected me for. And if anyone have any questions or concerns, my number is 985-570-7145. You can call me. If I do not answer, I'll text you to let you know, and I will try to call you back in a timely manner. Let's remember all bereaved families. We had another tragedy, and we just have to keep our kids encouraged, keep their families encouraged, keep the citizens encouraged, and let's remember to pray for one another. We have to pray for one another, pray without ceasing. Miss Penny has lost a loved one. Mr. Kellis has lost a loved one. And we have people that's on this council that are going through personal issues for health conditions. So we ask you that you keep us in prayer. And y'all have a blessed night.
Ms. Gloria Kate.
I would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Tonight has really been a very hard decision to make. As I mentioned, that ordinance has been out since January. It's been tabled since January. And not, once again, not to fight against anyone, but to respect what the law has been given to us. And when it was mentioned to cut the pay of the council, this was done when Councilman Richardson was in, and I tried to bring it back, but it was voted down. I agree with that. You don't make the meeting, cut the pay. It is an ordinance already in place. It was in place back in the 80s sometimes, during Mr. Sampson and Councilman Richmond's days. We can look at that, bring that back again. For so many minutes, so many meetings that you could miss, but it was voted down. Let's please keep the Keys, McGee, Stalin family in prayer. Yes, Councilwoman Dr. Danielle Keys McGee, she worked so hard on her doctorate. She worked very hard on that. But she will receive it. For those of you that did not attend the services, they will give it to, she will be awarded formally, I believe May 24th. May 10th. She will be awarded formally. So let's please keep that family in prayer, despite what people are saying about us, toward her. She will be missed. Yes. She will be missed. Pray for her little son, her little baby boy, Deuce, her husband, her mom, Miss Jean. And let me announce again, for the record, we do have finance meetings. They are posted for the public to attend. So please attend. We would love your input. Pray for us as a council. Pray for our administration. Pray for our mayor. Thank you.
Mark Irvin. Councilman Irvin.
Thank you for coming tonight. I know it's not anybody really sitting here tonight. It's not, I just don't know. While we're not going to dive into the budget tonight, I'm going to tell you something that we have been doing. We did take the budget to local accountants, both in and out of the parish, and no one yet will tell us what's going on. We read the budget, but they will not give their opinion about it. But I will tell you that the accountants was not very favorable. Simply because they said, where's your beginning and ending balance from 22? And I said, well, the audit's being completed, and it's going to take a little while and everything else. Okay, that's all we need to know. A couple of them accountants was familiar with the Local Government Budget Act. And no, they're not prominent families or anything. These are just regular accountants. And then we took it to a CPA, a couple of CPAs. So you now know what our request tonight was about. And matter of fact, they've done their own research. I'm not talking about, I've done mine. I took mine to myself. After I read all of the stuff on Facebook, which I don't take that into consideration when I go to vote. People are going to say nasty things all the time about somebody. And I will say one thing about the previous administration, and I saw it at the finance meeting, I was proud of them Thursday night. They actually said page by page. I was actually proud of them, page by page, and went over that budget. And we actually had a decent business discussion for the first time in 15 months. And I'm going to tell you something, I'm tired of the nasty emails, the threats. I'm tired of that from the public coming up here. And I'm just done. It's really sad. It's really sad as an elected official, the stuff we won't do. And you'd be surprised how many people that we have approached about, and I'm not going to dive into this tonight, not filling Danielle Keys a seat. and flat tell us no, both black and white, because they watch the videos and they know what goes on here. All I'm going to say is, when they get ready to have a business discussion, come see us. And by the way, we work other jobs. We take care of people. And beyond, above and beyond while those cameras are rolling, we don't get paid for it. We go wrap the street lights and make sure we fill the work orders out. And yes, Public Works does bust their butts to fill those work orders, and I'm proud of them for doing that. But however, I have never seen stuff like what I have seen so far. And fire department, they bust their butts. And by the way, they've been talking about the fire department on the internet. It's not just putting out fires. It's also about giving somebody Narcan and bringing them back to home. So I think the public needs to really think about it. The policemen here, they get put down on and they have to go deal with just had a shooting on Union Avenue, and my prayers are with that family tonight. Well, all I'm going to say is, I'm not going to say anything else, Father. The people here and the employees here, some of the people know the truth. Let's start practicing unity. Let's start practicing that on both sides of the aisle. Thank you very much for your time.
First, I want to say, I want to give President Campus condolences, the McGee Keys family, and the city of Bogalusa. We lost someone. My heart is heavy, very heavy. And to sit here bickering with each other, I don't want to do that. I'm not against anybody in here. I work with everybody in here. All of this to where this disrespect, I came here last month after I lost my brother because they didn't have a meeting. I don't know why, but they did not have a meeting. So when I came back and I'm talking about respect. A lot of people don't realize this council do not have control of death. When death hits, death is gonna hit. That's God's work. And I cannot stop it. These comments that was placed on Facebook, that was not our place to post and say that we lost Danielle. That was left up to her family. We cannot do that. Some of these people sit here and they want to talk about, they ask them to pray. They're not praying. They steady bashing us because we're not having a meeting. I can't control it. That's not my job. That belongs to God. I want to thank Mr. David Wolf for his report. I also want to give the police and the fire department, I give you your props. You guys were there. You guys were there. They complained because you had the roadblock. People don't want to respect nobody anymore. I come in here, I don't bother nobody. I sit right here in my seat. I listen to everything. I don't sit up here, I don't bother nobody. The golden rule says you do unto others as you would have others to do unto you. Now, if I came in here all the time and I push you, slap you upside your head, then eventually it's gonna come back to me. If I treat you with respect, you're gonna turn around and you're gonna treat me with respect. So, I get up and I walk out, go take a breather, but I'm talking about it. But everybody got it. That's all they asked them to do on Facebook was to pray. If a council meeting is canceled, and you really wanna know that bad, pick up the phone and call somebody. Don't sit here and disrespect us. Somebody even stated and said, we cancel more meetings than we have. There's a reason. There is a reason. But you know what? They don't want to respect that reason. Don't want to respect the reason. I want to work toward helping to build a better Bogalusa, but when you don't communicate with me, how can I do it? How can I do it? So let me state how I said this. As small as I am, I'm too little to carry a double-barrel shotgun. I am the double-barrel shotgun. Both barrels are loaded, and my finger is on my trigger when you bother me. That's how I stated that. But you know what? Some people take things the way they want to take things. Go ahead on and do whatever it is you want to do to me. Because as mad as I am, I will tear you in. Thank you.
Ms. Temple.
It's been a long night. I think it's time for us all to go home.
Thank you. I'm not apologizing for nothing. I'm just tired of people coming up in here that don't know anything, going to accuse us of malfeasance in office and talking about this council. It's the same people over and over again. I'm tired of it. Yeah, I did lose it a little bit. Got a little boisterous. I do that from time to time, because it ain't nothing but my hair up. Don't mean anything. And our next council meeting is going to be May the 7th, and I hope to see all you lovely faces here. Meeting adjourned. With the exception.
Mr. Bennett.
I can't do nothing.
Mr. Bennett.
Hey,
I'm trying to sync of the camera. I'm like,
Mr. Sanders.
That's out.
Mr. Sanders, once again, now, we don't know what we have. We gotta stop somewhere.
No, we sent that that last couple items to Amber.
I know, but what I'm saying, until they get it done, we gotta, our hands are tied.
No, because there's a lot of things that we can do. They're doing the analysis.
They're doing what now?
They're doing all analysis and everything. They get this done. We don't look at one thing. When we came in, you see, like, I don't know this. So we came in, I told that story when that finance meeting. That was $22 million sitting, and it was purposely sitting in that room to do one thing, to sink us.
Sitting where? In the vault?
Yes. If you know what
you said 22 million.
I'm sorry, $2.2 million. $2.2 million.
In what? In the vault?
In the vault. The first
live money?
Live money. Checks. $2.2 million.
Mr. Perry, don't leave. Mr. Perry.
There was $2.2 million in the vault when we first got here last year.
I know it was a lot. It was a lot. I just want to.
But it's used to sink people. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm not trying to work against anybody. We just need to be careful.
I know.
We don't know how much money these are.
Like I said, a lot of stuff is misinformation. It's just like how you handle the impact fees. It was a correct decision because people don't understand that impact fees is not paid by residents, it's paid by the developers. Right. So people that develop and profited.
I wish you was Adams would have been.
You know, nobody
and we did. I know I did the best I could on the research.
Because you're paying more material costs and the man hours that the plumbers have to be out there and everything, just like Michael Reese's church. It's gonna cost us almost $4,000 just to hook him up. For what? 'Cause that's what
The connection fee.
That's what military